Hello and welcome back to the Hazzabhajan YouTube channel. It is Harry here, and today it is time for yet another one of my zany video ideas which for some reason I decided to put myself through in order to work out, and something which you will have never considered in your life before but now realise that you actually do want to know what the end result is. Also, I hope. What I've done for this video is I have compiled all of the top 5 leagues in Europe together, those being England, France, Germany, Italy and Spain, based on their results over the last season, and calculated who finishes on top, second, third, and, of course, last, with every other position in between, when these leagues are all combined into one Super League. Although not the Turkish League, even though I know that's called the Super League, it's not the Super League, it's a Super League. You get the idea. Now, I know what you're thinking straight off the bat.
Harry, you're insane. Why would you put yourself through this?
Answer, I enjoy daily doses of masochism. But of course I decided to make this because I want to know what the end result was, and I hope that you guys do as well. And if you're going to enjoy this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment with what you think, and maybe I can expand this out to other seasons as well, so maybe the season before 2018-19 or before that, etc, etc. If you want me to do that, let me know. So I have to elaborate on my method as well as much as I can, especially since you're also thinking that this doesn't actually work as a concept because the teams from across these 5 leagues will all have played a different number of games from each other. And you are correct. The Bundesliga only has 34 games as standard in comparison to the Premier League, La Liga and Serie A's 38, as well as of course Ligue 1, but that was cancelled after 28 games, with PSG and Strasbourg only ending up playing 27 apiece. In order to alleviate this problem, instead of going on the overall points tallies of each team, which would be very unfair and imbalanced, I've gone on a points per game basis, meaning that it is as fair as possible. Where there are ties, I've gone with goal difference as the deciding factor, and although I am aware that some leagues such as Serie A prioritise head-to-head records instead of goal difference to settle ties in league positions, this would be impossible to do if a team from the Bundesliga and a team from the Ligue 1 were dead even, as they of course haven't played each other. Where the teams are tied on goal difference, I've gone with goals scored, and if they were tied on that as well, which does actually occur once in this video, away goals were my casting votes as to determine where the teams finished in the league. So without further ado, let's run you through this ridiculous hybrid Super League concoction thing. I'll start at the higher end of the table because I think it's actually more interesting to do it from the top down, as it's pretty obvious as to the teams who will end up nearer the top, but perhaps a bit less so when you get to the other side of the table. The team who ended up in first place overall, perhaps unsurprising considering their absolute hegemony over the English game, was Liverpool, with a ridiculous average of 2.61 points per game after gaining 99 points in the Premier League. Also perhaps unsurprisingly, all of the champions finished in the top 5, with Juventus being the lowest ranked champion overall at 2.18 points per game, and PSG coming in second, as you can see on the screen, with 2.52 points per game. However, it is interesting to note that not all of the second place sides in the respective leagues followed all of the champions, as whilst Barcelona and Inter, as well as Man City, were just behind Juventus, Atalanta and Lazio from Serie A follow Man City, despite finishing 3rd and 4th in Serie A, respectively. After those two, we finally arrive at the other 2 second place sides in their respective leagues, namely Dortmund from the Bundesliga and Marseille from Ligue 1. Inside the top 20, which is either to the left or to the right of me, the league with the fewest entrants is actually the Premier League, with just 2, Liverpool and City. I was surprised to find that Ligue 1 actually had 4 representatives in the top 20, with Rennes and Lille complementing PSG and Marseille, but a bit less surprised to find that the Bundesliga had 5, with all of them indeed finishing inside the top 15, as Leipzig, Gladbach and Leverkusen all featured alongside the 2 behemoths of the German game. Serie A also had 5 teams too, with Roma joining the aforementioned Champions League qualifiers. As we move into positions 21 to 40, we finally see the 2 English Champions League qualifiers in Man United and Chelsea, sandwiching 6th place Serie A side AC Milan. Napoli follow them in 25th place, but interestingly enough, they are the last Serie A side to feature in the top half, so only 7 Serie A sides featured in the top 49. Bear in mind, of course, it is the top 98 as a whole because of the 18-team Bundesliga. Further down the list, you can see the absolute tie between Real Sociedad and Arsenal in 30th place, but Sociedad scored 23 goals away from home compared to Arsenal's 20, meaning that the Basque team get the upper hand. Other surprises include Reims and Granada featuring above Lyon and Monaco, 2 giants of the French game, with of course Lyon having just knocked out Juventus in the Champions League, and Sheffield United just squeezed into the top 40 after a brilliant season under the magical genius that is Chris Wilder. As we move further and further down the list, the names of true giants of the game start to dwindle, as the vast majority of them will have featured in the top 20 and at least the top 40, but that doesn't mean to say that there aren't any left. For example, Strasbourg, who were in the 5th tier of French football as recently as 2012, managed to beat 6-time La Liga winners and 2-time Champions League runners-up Valencia. And Southampton, in spite of being humbled 9-0 by Leicester back in October, recovered sufficiently to finish ahead of Athletic Bilbao, who were one of only 3 ever-present teams in La Liga, the others being of course Barcelona and Real Madrid, Eintracht Frankfurt, who were Europa League semi-finalists in 2019, and Fiorentina. Plus, after their wretched season, Everton find themselves all the way down in 57th, only 2 places ahead of Stade Brestois 29 and only 3 places ahead of FC Metz. Within the top 60, Ligue 1 has an incredible 15 teams, although it is definitely worth noting that of course they only played 28 games this season. But the Bundesliga, despite completing their season, only has 9. Interestingly, all of the 3 leagues who managed to complete their 38 game a season calendar have 12 teams each in the top 60, the symmetry of which I'm very impressed by. However, if you are an alert viewer, or just extremely cognizant of each team's league positions in the leagues surveyed here, you will have noticed a few noteworthy teams who still haven't been mentioned yet. Most of them are to be found between position 61 and position 80, which should be on screen within the next few seconds. See, told you. Hertha Berlin, remarkably, finished dead level on points with their cross-city rivals Union Berlin in the latter's debut season in the Bundesliga, but both missed out on a place in the top 60 by goal difference alone. There may be a significant outlier amongst all the teams in this particular section, and no, it's not Newcastle, but instead it is the team who finished below them in Schalke. Despite being 3rd after match week 13 in the Bundesliga and very much in the title race, they absolutely crumbled, only winning twice after that game, and none after match week 19. Meaning that they went almost the entirety of the second half of the season without winning a game. Somehow, David Wagner kept his job. Other big names that you might be surprised to see include the likes of Sampdoria in 70th, Real Betis down in 72nd, Saint Etienne, the team who won the most French league titles in history, not PSG, in 75th, and Cologne, the place below, in 76th. West Ham too, only just scrape into the top 80 after their poor season, finishing lower than the likes of Dijon and Augsburg. But now this is where it gets really interesting as we head into the final 18 teams of this convoluted list. Out of each of the leagues, Ligue 1 and the Bundesliga both have 3 teams left to feature, albeit they both play fewer games of course than the other 3 leagues, which all have 4 each. I'm going to reveal positions 81 to 90 first, and then save the absolute dross until the bitter end. Within this particular bracket, there are 3 teams in my opinion who stick out the most. Aston Villa, considering how historical a club they are, all the way down in 85th. Celta Vigo, spearheaded by the indefatigable Iago Aspas, who find themselves down in 82nd, and Werder Bremen, the team have spent the most seasons in the Bundesliga since 1963, more than Bayern Munich, it's worth bearing in mind, ending up in 87th place after a terrible season, which saw them enter the relegation playoff on the final day, just about saving automatic relegation to the Bundesliga 2, which they actually did go on to win to preserve their status in the top flight. Bremen are the lowest placed side in this particular mishmash of a league not to be relegated in any of the leagues surveyed, and the highest placed team who did get relegated is 84th placed side Leganes after they were relegated from La Liga. Every side below them, barring Villa and Bremen, all suffer relegation in their respective leagues. And now the moment I'm sure you've all been waiting for. Who are the lowest ranked teams across the entirety of Europe's top 5 leagues for the 2019-20 season? Your answer? Düsseldorf, Amiens, Espanyol, Brescia and Paderborn make up positions 91 to 95, with undoubtedly the biggest shock amongst that lot being Espanyol, considering they've spent 80 seasons in the Spanish top flight, although they haven't won it, which is a record, and reached the UEFA Cup final in 2007, plus they finished 7th place in the Liga last season. The absolute worst of the worst though, in no particular order, are the following teams: Spal, Toulouse and Norwich. Can you have any guesses as to who are last? Well, Norwich are actually spared the indignity of being last overall, as their 0.55 points per game wasn't the lowest across all of the divisions. Instead, that honour, or rather that wooden spoon, goes to Toulouse, as they only gained 13 points in Ligue 1 in 28 games for a miserable average of 0.46 points per game, with Spal on 0.53 filling in the remaining place. So there you go, the best team last season was, perhaps predictably, Liverpool, and the worst, maybe unpredictably, was Toulouse. Let's just hope that each of the seasons actually conclude next year so that we can have a fairer experiment, method and results. But that is where we are going to conclude today's video. I really hope that you have enjoyed this ridiculous experiment of sorts. Again, if there's any more experiments that you want me to do, stick them down in the comments below, or message me, or message my Facebook page, or whatever. All my socials can be found in the description. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, comment what you think of the whole situation, and until next time, I'll see you then.